Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Janice Lo. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. In a rare occurrence, lawmakers cross swords over the importation of labor. Hong Kong Bishop Stephen Chow, who's visiting Beijing, says he has not held talks on relations between the Vatican and China. And a stampede in Yemen kills at least 78 people. There was rare discord in the Legislative Council today over a non-binding motion calling for the immediate importation of foreign labor. Business groups said the government must act now, but trade unions were up in arms. Raymond Young reports.
While the current term Legislative Council has been passing bills at record speed, it took lawmakers 4 hours to debate a non-binding motion today. The motion was moved by Shil Ka-fai of the wholesale and retail sector. The chairman of the pro-business Liberal Party said owing to population aging and emigration of Hong Kong residents, various industries are facing manpower shortage and recruitment difficulties. Apart from urging the government to expeditiously import manpower, he also proposed a scheme which will let Greater Bay Area residents travel to Hong Kong for work daily, without the need to settle in the SAR. Similar arrangements are already in place in neighboring Macau. Federation of Trade Unions Chairman Kingsley Wong quickly voiced his opposition. He pointed instead to Hong Kong's labor participation rate of 63.5%, which falls behind Singapore and other regional counterparts. But Priscilla Leung said the problem is so pressing that if not solved quickly, Hong Kong will lose its competitive edge. Tommy Cheung, who operates restaurants, even accused trade unions of demonizing imported labor. The motion was eventually endorsed by 68 lawmakers. Ng Chao Pei, one of 9 unionists who voted against the motion, described the result as regrettable. Raymond Yang, HKIBC.
The hospital authority expects the first batch of British-based medical professionals to begin practicing in Hong Kong by the 3rd quarter of this year.
The vast majority of them come from very good medical schools, so they have very good training. We obviously hope that we can employ more non-locally trained doctors to support our overall systems, as well as having more exchange with knowledge and experience, which is obviously very important to improve our medical standards in Hong Kong.
Ko said over 100 conditional contracts were issued to Hong Kong doctors and medical students in Britain. Most of them are fresh graduates or are undergoing training. A hospital authority delegation went to London earlier this month to recruit medical personnel to help ease a shortage in Hong Kong. Hong Kong's Catholic bishop says he has not held any discussions with mainland officials on the relationship between Beijing and the Vatican. Stephen Chow, who's in the capital, was given a warm welcome as he visited churches. A visit to the Church of the Saviour in Beijing was the first stop of a Hong Kong Catholic delegation on the 4th day of their tour of the capital. Bishop Stephen Chow, accompanied by Auxiliary Bishop Joseph Ha and a Hong Kong priest Peter Choi, joined their mainland peers to celebrate Mass. They later went to the Church of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, where they were welcomed by some parishioners. Chow's 5-day visit is his first to Beijing since becoming bishop over a year ago. The group held several meetings in the capital, said the bishop, who's the first Hong Kong Catholic leader to travel to the mainland since the handover. Chow said he wishes to have more interaction and cooperation with the Beijing diocese, adding that his hosts encouraged him to visit other parishes on the mainland. This mainland Catholic said he went to church today to meet Hong Kong's bishop. He said Chow was very friendly and hoped there would be closer ties between mainland and Hong Kong Catholics. The visit takes place 2 weeks after the Vatican accused Beijing of violating an agreement by appointing a bishop in Shanghai without the Pope's approval. Chow said his discussions with mainland officials did not include Beijing's relationship with the Vatican. Overseas, at least 78 people, including many women and children, have been killed in a stampede in Yemen during the distribution of food for Ramadan. People collecting food at a school in the capital Sana'a panicked when they heard gunfire. One witness said the Houthis, who run the city, had fired into the air in an attempt to control the crowd. One shot struck an electric wire, causing it to explode. That prompted people to flee in horror. Those responsible for the distribution have been detained, according to the Interior Ministry. The death toll in Sudan's political unrest has risen to nearly 300 as the latest ceasefire collapsed. Food and water are in short supply in the capital Khartoum, where the health service has broken down. Azam Khan reports.
Sudan's second ceasefire in days has collapsed, triggering panic in the capital Khartoum. The Sudanese military and the powerful paramilitary Rapid Support Forces agreed to hold fire for 24 hours, but the truce lasted just minutes before explosions and gunshots were heard again. Thousands of terrified Sudanese have fled Khartoum, escaping streets lined up with bodies. For the thousands still in Khartoum, drinking water is in short supply, as residents attempt to scavenge from water tanks. Food stocks in the city are also dwindling. Nabil Arman, the Secretary General of Sudan's Doctors Union, said the two rival groups have seized hospitals in Khartoum for use as bases to launch attack. In addition, 9 hospitals have been hit by artillery, and 16 had to be evacuated. Arman added that the fighting must stop so humanitarian corridors can operate, as aid workers have also come under attack. Azam Khan, HKIBC.
The family of Tyree Nichols, a black man who died after a police beating, is suing the American city of Memphis for $550 million.
Let me be clear and unambiguous about it. It is our mission to make it financially unsustainable for these police oppression units to unjustly kill black people in the future.
In January, 5 officers pulled 29-year-old Nichols out of his car and assaulted him. Videos of the beating were released, triggering outrage and revulsion over police brutality. The officers, who were charged with second-degree murder, belonged to a now disbanded special unit. 2 elderly men in the United States have appeared in court in 2 different cities charged with shooting young people who found themselves in the wrong place by mistake. The cases drew national attention to the prevalence of gun crimes in the country. Azam Khan reports.
Walking with a cane, Andrew Lester, who is accused of shooting black teenager Ralph Yarl, pleaded not guilty when he appeared in court in Kansas City. The 84-year-old is charged with first-degree assault and armed criminal action in a case that has drawn nationwide attention. Yarl has been discharged from hospital after surviving shots to the head and forearm when he mistakenly knocked on Lester's door looking for his younger brothers.
Rang the doorbell and waited quietly outside until the door was open. It took a while because obviously Mr. Lester was retrieving his weapon. This should be a federal hate crime, at least investigation. I believe that it merits federal hate crime charges and a conviction.
The case was among 3 in recent days involving young people who were shot after mistakenly showing up in the wrong place. In upstate New York, Kevin Monahan was charged with second-degree murder for fatally shooting 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis when her car turned into the wrong driveway. Gillis and her 3 friends tried to reverse their vehicle when 65-year-old Monahan fired 2 shots, hitting the young woman in the neck.
My daughter was an honors student. She had hopes and dreams of becoming... She had hopes and dreams of becoming a marine biologist or a veterinarian. She loved animals. And this man took that away from us.
Monahan was denied bail. Azam Khan, HKIBC.
China Mobile has posted a 9.5% jump in net profit to 28 billion yuan for the first quarter. The return to full normality also enabled the mainland's biggest wireless provider to expand its market. Its mobile business had 983 million customers last month, edging up by 4 million from February. There was a big month-on-month jump in 5G users, rising by 50 million to 689 million in March. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index closed the day up 29 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Tracker Fund was up 4 cents, Meituan was up $4.80, while Tencent was down 20 cents. Alibaba was down 50 cents, while Kuaishou was down $2.70. To the foreign exchange against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro is at 8.59, the pound's turning 9.74, and the Australian dollar is at 5.27. Over in Europe, the London FTSE 100 is currently down 16 points. Hong Kong missed out on a partial solar eclipse this afternoon because of the clouds. But a total eclipse was witnessed in Australia, where thousands of people gathered for the rare event. Macy Mock reports.
Sky gazers in the Western Australian coastal town of Exmouth were awed by the rare celestial event. Around 20,000 people from across the globe watched the minute-long total solar eclipse that occurs once a decade. It happened close to noon, local time, darkening the sky. There were tears of joy among the enthusiasts.
At the start of the eclipse, it was still broad daylight, and then progressively the moon came in front, and by the time it was a few minutes before totality, you just saw a crescent as if the sun was smiling at us. And then once the moon was totally in front, then we see this solar corona, which is extensions of the sun's magnetic field.
When everything became dark, and within a split of a second, like, it get cooler, and yeah, I mean, looking at the sun and looking around the sun, like, was really amazing.
The hybrid solar eclipse could be viewed in its totality in Australia, but other parts of the world had to make do with a partial eclipse. Hong Kong, however, missed it because of the clouds. This woman said she was disappointed. She and others will have to wait 5 more years to get another chance. But there was some comfort for several children who attended a solar eclipse workshop held by the Space Museum in Tsim Sha Tsui. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
On to the weather now. Brace for thunderstorms tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 23 and 26 degrees. Remaining wet on Saturday, but bright periods could return on Sunday. That's our main news for Thursday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Janice Lo. Thanks for watching. Good night.